I figured since Halloween is right around the corner, we'd get in the spooky spirit a little bit early this year by watching people on BuzzFeed get offended over stuff they shouldn't be getting offended about. And what better way to do that than watch a video of people getting offended over little kids' Halloween costumes. And before you say anything, I know this video is like 4 years old, I'm aware. I just wanted to watch something cringy for the Halloween holiday. So let's see what Halloween costumes are really that bad that it causes these people to get offended. I wouldn't imagine it's too much because people like to get offended over everything these days.
Hey y'all, welcome to another episode of Is This Okay? Where we talk about things and ask the question, is this okay? There we go.
You shouldn't really have to be asking the question, is this okay? I mean, it's Halloween. It's Halloween, you're supposed to dress up. I just never understood why people really need to ask, is this okay over everything? Just let the kids dress up. You're just making it look like way more of a problem than it really is. Just, if you ignore it, it's going to go away, and especially over Halloween costumes. No one is getting offended over Halloween costumes.
I'm Jenny.
I'm Daisha.
I'm Nyla.
I'm Chris.
I'm Becky.
So, I already know that I don't like any of these people, but Becky, personally, she looks exactly like the epitome of a Karen. She is a white female with blonde hair, which is cut into the Karen hairstyle, with her glasses on the Karen hair. That's literally as Karen as it gets.
So today we're going to talk about a very scary topic. Offensive Halloween costumes! That was good. That was great.
They're making jokes of it like, yeah, oh, offensive Halloween costumes, but they're actually getting offended over them is the funny part. It's just dumb.
So this topic came about when I saw a lot of articles being written about the Moana costume. There was like this costume where it was like, you know, full tats, and also you could see like the brown skin underneath the tat.
Oh my god, you can see the brown skin underneath it. It's almost like the Moana character has that color skin, so that it would make sense that the costume looks like him. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they're supposed to make a white version, a Mexican version, a black version, and you know, they gotta have the tattooed version, the non-tattooed version, the fat version, the skinny version. A version for everyone involved so no one gets offended. Because everyone has to make sure their feelings don't get hurt ever. Because no one can ever handle that emotional pain of getting their feelings hurt.
So I would like to ask friends,
You don't have any friends.
where do you draw the line with offensive costumes?
Well, for me personally, we see like sexy Indian, and then we also see the warrior.
When I see Asian costumes, because a lot of it actually appeals to a very pan-Asian, like, oh, Japanese and Chinese, they're like basically the same thing.
You're telling me Halloween costumes aren't exaggerated ever? It's almost like Halloween costumes are made to stand out and look cool. If you want accuracy in the costumes you're going to be seeing people wearing, go to a World War II reenactment, not to a suburban neighborhood where kids are getting candy. It's almost like they're not supposed to look realistic, because kids like their bright colors, and adults like to look sexy in their costumes, so obviously they're not going to look realistic. They're going to look how they want them to look to appeal to a broader audience.
For instance, like that MLK party, and it was like, come dressed as black people. And it's like, so then you have people throwing up gang signs and wearing baggy clothes and doing all this shit. But when have you ever seen a party being like, oh, come dressed as white people?
So basically she's saying it would have been fine if it was racist towards white people, but since it's racist towards the race that she is, then it's not okay.
If I wore an offensive costume that offended you or something, and I were to say to you, Chris, it's just a costume, like, get over it, it's just Halloween. Like, how would you react to that?
Yeah, that's exactly what I would say to Chris. I would say, Chris, if you're offended by my costume, I don't care. Go cry in the corner of your room. Maybe call your friends and tell them how sad you are that I'm offending you with my costume. I'm gonna go get some candy and have a good night. You do whatever you want to do, man.
People are like, it's just a costume, it's just a movie, it's just a game, it's just a kid show.
It's just something.
It's just something.
Because it is. It's just a costume. It's just a costume. There's no harm in it at all.
Mommy, what does that crazy man mean when he says my costume isn't just a costume, it's offensive?
Because everyone thinks that it's just this one thing, it normalizes a lot of these horrible like mindsets of like, oh, well, I thought black people just look like this. I thought Asian people just look like this. I thought Native people just look like this.
No one says that. No one looks at like a costume. No one would look at a costume of, say, like Michael Jordan and say, oh, all black people look like this. And that goes for every like race. No one looks at a costume specifically for the race of it and says, yeah, that's what everyone in that ethnicity looks like, so I'm going to start looking at them like that from now on. I'm just not going to acknowledge it's a Halloween costume, and I'm going to think way too deep into it and get way too offended over just a costume.
And you would not believe the number of people who actually seriously, in all seriousness, will ask me, but isn't that the way Native Americans dress?
No, they don't. And if they do, then it's probably an 8-year-old, and then your argument holds zero validity at all.
If someone came to me and said, you know, I want to dress as Pocahontas for Halloween, or I want to dress as Crazy Horse for Halloween, I'd be like, great. Learn about them, what tribes they were from, what their traditions were, how they actually dressed, what their actual history was, not just I'm generically dressing in this weird little buckskin fringe and calling it Pocahontas.
Yes, 8-year-old kid who just watched a Disney movie and now wants to dress as Pocahontas. Do your research. 12 hours of research minimum, write an essay in Times New Roman font 12, and submit it to me before you even think about dressing up as Pocahontas. Make sure you know everything about her, and if I ask you a question about her, you better give me a whole presentation, have a PowerPoint ready to present to me every single slide about Pocahontas' life, what she did, when she went to the bathroom, when she peed, what her sexual fantasies were, everything like that. You better have it ready, because I'm going to ask you.
If you don't know anything about the character you're dressing as, why do you want to dress as that character in the first place? Wouldn't you rather dress as something that you are impressed by, that you do have some knowledge of?
Because they look cool. No one looks that deep into it's mostly kids dress up for Halloween, okay? And where do kids get their ideas for Halloween costumes? From TV or movies that they watch, or just characters they've seen online that they think look cool and they want to dress as. They don't look into it. Kids don't see things by race and ethnicity and all that. They just see something and they're like, yeah, I like that. I want to be that. They don't say, huh, I'm white and this is a black person's costume, so would my friends get offended if I wore that? Maybe I shouldn't wear that. Maybe I should wear a white costume because I'm white. I really like this character though, but I can't do it. I can't offend these people. No, they look at it, they're like, yeah, I like LeBron James. I'm gonna dress up as LeBron James for Halloween. Or, yeah, I like Moana. Moana's my favorite movie this year. I'm gonna dress up as Moana.
How can you say that you're trying to honor those people and that culture if you didn't even take 2 seconds to look it up?
No one says they're trying to honor a group or a culture by dressing up as them. I guarantee you 99.99% of people who dress up as a certain costume for Halloween, they just look at the costume and they're like, I like the costume, I like the way it looks, or they just like the character and they dress up as him. They don't put a second thought into it. You're not supposed to put a second thought into a Halloween costume.
But this also like stems from education though too, is like I think like we can all sit here and say like it takes 2 seconds to look it up and it's easy peasy lemon squeezy for us because we're all culturally competent.
Yeah, you incompetent losers.
But I think like, you know, you have these universities that have story after story after story of blackface and cultural appropriation, and the deans excuse it. So it's kind of like, well, if the deans are excusing it, then it's okay that we can do it. Do you hold them accountable as much as you hold the school accountable because they're not holding the students accountable?
Yes, education is the problem of why we're getting offended over Halloween costumes and no one else is. Since I'm getting offended over a Halloween costume, it's your education's fault, not mine. Not my fault that I'm getting offended. It's your fault for your education. The real question we should be asking are white people still allowed to wear Air Jordans?
Yeah, I mean, like, everyone needs to be held accountable. Actually, a lot of schools are telling kids to be cognizant of the fact that they could be offensive.
Yeah.
Tyler, what did I tell you about wearing Air Jordans? Tyrone's gonna get offended. Take them off now.
That's not what a school is for. School is not for teaching, oh, you shouldn't do this because it may be offensive to some people. School is 2 + 2 is 4, Johnny. Congratulations, you move on to the 3rd grade.
I think this just goes beyond like only white people doing it.
Wow, that took a lot out of her to admit that other races were racist besides white people. I don't know if she's okay after saying that.
It is important that we like look deeper into this and kind of dismantle systematic racism and figure out ways like Halloween itself just perpetuates all these stereotypes.
Yes, Halloween. Get rid of Halloween. Halloween is bad. It promotes systematic racism. Whenever I was growing up and I was little and I was dressing up for Halloween and everything, going out and getting candy, not once did I hear or did I ever think, that person's dressed up as a different race. They have to be racist. No one does that, dude. Nobody ever in the history of the world does that until you people who get offended over every little thing. Maybe I'm just left out of this whole debate, but let me know if you've ever got offended by a Halloween costume, because I know I've never been offended by a Halloween costume. I don't know how you could really get offended by a Halloween costume. Honestly, it's literally the one day of the year you're supposed to dress up as whatever you want. You're not supposed to think, oh, I need to do my research on this character before I dress up as them. I need to be able to write a full-page essay, and I need to get it analyzed by this woman here to make sure that it's okay to wear out in public. I don't want to be offending anybody. No, they're like, yeah, this is the one night of the year that I have to dress up as whatever I want and go have fun with my friends. I'm going to dress up as a ninja, and I'm going to go out and fake fight my friends who's dressed up as the Hulk and Superman.
The
And
holiday
it's not just
itself,
race.
the holiday, it's not just race. It's misogyny, it's homophobia, it's all of transphobia, Islamophobia. It's all of these things.
So I guess the only thing that leads us to dress up as is Clayface, because we can just transform on the dot if we offend anybody. How does transphobia and homophobia go into Halloween? I need to rewatch that. Did I hear that right? So they're saying the holiday itself promotes transphobia, misogyny, homophobia. Yeah, these people are dumb.
So a while ago, I had a friend who dressed up as a black celebrity that he really loved. He wore blackface.
Blackface? Oh no. If you do blackface, Twitter's gonna get mad.
And we were going to a party, and we had a black friend of ours who thought it was really funny. It was all about this idea of the costume was great. And they talked about how, but just not upset anybody, they would not put the photos on Facebook.
The black friends were okay with it, but don't post the pictures because other people will get mad. Other people who aren't black will get mad because they're so culturally and ethnically advanced that they just have to get offended if they see blackface anywhere. This just sounds like a normal dude reacting normally to someone dressing up like a black person for a costume party, and then Karen here has to take it and blow it out of proportion.
It still felt a little odd to me, but they were like, if no one else is seeing it and everyone else here knows that we are not racist and we all think the blackface is funny, then there's no harm, no foul.
That makes sense to me.
The black friend of mine essentially said, don't be offended on behalf of black people. Like I'm saying, if I'm the only one here that sees this and I'm comfortable with it, it should be okay.
That makes sense to me.
No, don't paint your face black. That's bad.
Just because you and the fact that you are a black person thought that it was funny, like you have to understand that as a whole community, that sets us back.
Yes, you must get approval from the whole community, and if you don't, you're setting the whole community back by laughing at someone who's painting their face black. Because you're not allowed to think that's funny. You're supposed to think that's offensive, and you're setting the whole culture and whole ethnicity back 100 years just by laughing as someone who painted their face black and dressed up as a black person. You, if you're watching this and you're the person that laughed at blackface, you set the culture and the ethnicity of black people back 100 years by doing that. No one's gonna take you guys serious as a race now.
I feel very mixed about it because like you're allowed to have your opinion. Like we're all individuals and like Asian people, black.
Wait, I can have my opinion? I can have my own opinion? Really? Thank you so much for that gift, Chris. I didn't know I could have my own opinion.
Again, both of those people are fine. You can live in the same world, but the person that's not offended has no right to tell the other person that they shouldn't be offended.
Then that means you have no right to tell anyone what they should be offended about. But then again, I guess it wouldn't benefit you any if it went both ways, huh?
Even if he's the only black person at that party, you all live in the world.
See, that's where you're wrong. We live in a society.
And everybody else is taking that experience and the sort of assumption that this is okay back into the real world.
No, they're not. No, they're not. No, they're not. No, they're not. Dude, I swear, in like 5 years, people will dress it up for Halloween. You're only gonna be able to dress up as yourself because if you dress up as anything else, you're gonna get roasted and you're gonna get probably arrested. There's probably gonna be a law put in place by then. 2025 law says if you dress up as anything racist, homophobic, transphobic, or culturally unacceptable, you will be arrested and no chance of parole, 10 to life. Seems fair to me.
So for instance, I went to a school and somebody had wrote the word
N-word
on the wall. I think they said, I wish all
N-word
would die, something like that.
She acts like that's not a normal thing. People go into schools, like if you just look at the bottom of a desk or in the school bathroom wall, there's so many offensive things on the wall. Why would you get offended by something someone wrote on a wall? And they write derogatory stuff everywhere around schools. Someone writing this on the wall doesn't mean they're going to commit mass genocide of a race. It's called people trying to be edgy and humorous to other friends in school.
And so instead of like specifically going after the individual,
You got
the
corona.
school then said, okay, somebody clearly thought that this was a space in which they could say something like that. So we're going to reevaluate the space and we're going to create programming to talk about these things.
Because everyone knows how well that goes over when they talk about not doing drugs. Yummy.
And to create a different kind of environment that we actually want to foster so that no one ever thinks that this is a space that they can write that kind of stuff.
So does she want him to like get some forensics teams in, the NCIS or the FBI, some forensics team to come in, analyze that handwriting and find that one person that did it and lock them up forever? Because that sounds pretty okay to me.
So you all already know what to do.
Yes, I know exactly what to do. Go out there and tell every little kid getting Halloween candy that their costume's offensive and they need to do the research. But yeah, I don't know what you got out of that video. What I got out of the video is you can't dress up as anything or it's offensive, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.